Hi there and welcome to Chalk Session. I am your host, Brian Griffiths. This is the show here at the Duck Pin where we analyze and review and critique political campaign ads. So join us on this week's show. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's take a look at this week's ad. On this week's episode of Chalk Session, we're going to take a look at the latest ad by Jessica Haire. She is running for Anne Arundel County Executive. She had released some earlier ads on for social media, and they weren't quite as of the high standard as this one is. So why don't we take a look and break this one down? Jessica Haire for Anne Arundel County Executive.
I'm Jessica Haire. As a civil engineer, a county council member, and as a mom, I know that local issues have the biggest impact on our life.
I love everything about that opening spot there, talking about, she has that glance back at the kid, looks like a traditional suburban mom, gets her resume in there, talking about her experience as an engineer, as an attorney, and as a county councilwoman, and then immediately pivots to local issues. So I really like how we get in there and kind of hit the high notes in the first 8 seconds of the ad.
Then COVID hit. It was clearer than ever. Local leadership matters.
And again, going right back to hitting the local leadership angle, the B-roll footage. I mean, it obviously is B-roll. There's no question about that, but it is relevant and timely B-roll, talking about the supply chain issues, talking about COVID, talking about businesses, getting people back to work, and trying to bring that focus away from national issues and making everybody remember that local government is the government level that touches us the most.
So I'm running for Anne Arundel County Executive. I'll stop the tax increases, support our police, and get government working.
Again, local issues. These are things that people in Anne Arundel County are talking about. These are areas of weakness that the incumbent Stuart Pittman has in running for re-election, places where he has failed. So again, it's just a nice way to bring this all back to a local level without trying to nationalize the race like so many local politicians do.
And again, we don't need big promises and even bigger budgets.
Two things I love about this part right here. One, that line, we don't need bigger promises and bigger budgets. Perfect line. Speaks exactly about Stuart Pittman's administration and how he's been nothing but promises and higher budgets and higher taxes. And the B-roll, it's obviously filmed in fall. You got Dirk and Jessica here. You've got the kids, and it's obviously not something that they got in the can over the summer. Relevant content for an ad that's about to go on television.
We need better local leadership. It matters.
So a great piece of cinema there, sending it all back to local leadership and how local leadership is what's important. When we come back, we will break this ad down. Stick with us. All right, let's go ahead and break this Jessica Haire ad right down. Some of the pros here, we'll start with number one, which is just the mom angle. I think that's a perfect way to introduce the fact that she's a mom, having kids running around in the background, her kind of giving that side-eye look to check on them, make sure that they were doing okay. I love that angle. I think that's a really good way to emphasize the fact that she is a working mom. Speaking of working mom, the second thing I love is that just the way the resume gets in there. Some people hit you over the head with their resume, but she just talks about how she's a civil engineer, she's an attorney, she's a working mom, she's a county councilwoman, she's all these things. It's a way to make sure people understand where Jessica is coming from without having to, hit you over the head with a steel chair with it. The third thing I do like is the B-roll that they used. The B-roll that they used was timely and appropriate. We talked about, we have kids in masks. We have businesses closed for COVID. We've got people trying to buy stuff at the store, at Sam's Club or BJ's or whatever, trying to get that supply chain issue in there as well. And I think that's a really good way. You see so many people just go out and buy B-roll and it's not timely or relevant. This is good, relevant B-roll to use during a commercial in 2022. The fourth, and honestly to me is the most important, is the local focus. As I said before, you have so many local politicians who want to nationalize the race, who want to talk about guns and Congress and immigration and all these other stuff like that. And you know what? People voting for a county executive don't care about any of those things. They care about taxes, they care about the size of government, and they care about the and they care about making sure that they have safety with supporting the police. And I love that line there that she uses. We're talking about how we don't need big promises and bigger government. and bigger budgets. I mean, that's such a great line, especially given how much Stuart Pittman has bloated the size of the government and increased our tax base. I think it's a really, really good use of that. As far as the cons go, I got nothing. I really don't. I know it's kind of odd, you have a show like this where you're critiquing stuff, and this is the second straight time where we don't have any critiques, but this is another ad that just perfectly nails what it is intended to do. It gives you the resume, tells you who Jessica Haire is, and gets out of there without having to worry too much about, trying to sell you on from Stuart Pittman. Particularly, doesn't address too many things about the primary election. I mean, she does have a contested primary, but it does kind of, establish her bona fides and her credentials when compared to Stuart Pittman, which is exactly what they wanted to do. As far as a grade goes, I give this ad an A+.
That's all the time we have on this episode of Chalk Session. Again, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you have an ad that you want us to analyze in one of these Chalk Session videos, please feel free to email us at theduckpin@gmail.com. For all of us here at The Duck Pin, thanks, and we'll see you next time.